Okay, good morning. Let's start this side event. So good morning to everyone and good morning to the people connected remotely. It is a great pleasure for me to open this side event dedicated to eco-fuel, a very interesting project funded by the European Union. When Dr. Nino Enrico asked me about the possibility to hosting this workshop within the ACE Gisel conference, of which I'm honored to be the chair, I immediately accepted with great enthusiasm and sincere interest. I'm delighted to provide the space to such a significant initiative. The topic addressed by Eco2Fuel project is of great relevance to the ACE and Gisel scientific community, and the strong interest it has generated is clearly demonstrated by a good participation in this event. Many conference attendees are here this morning to follow the presentation and discussion. Maybe some more people are coming during the morning. I would like to extend a warm welcome to all Eco2Fuel speakers, both those present in the room and those joining us remotely. I hope this day will be a stimulating opportunity for discussion, scientific exchange, and above all, for new ideas and future collaborations. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a very fruitful workshop.
Thank you, Isabel, for the kind introduction and for organizing, also Antonino, for organizing or allowing us to have this workshop in the ACE Gisel conference. Yes, I'm Faria. I'm the project coordinator for Eco2Fuel, just funded by EU Horizon. And I will present today the progress and insights into the 50 kilowatt stack electrolyzer for CO2 conversion to value-added fuels and chemicals. So first, I'll share with you the objectives, very briefly, the objectives for the project itself, introduce you to the consortium who has made all this work possible, and really share the motivation for why we want to develop such a project. And I will briefly also share the concept of CO2RR, just to explain you the kind of challenges we are tackling within the project, and also share the current results and status of the project. And I will end the presentation with some future steps we will be taking in the upcoming months. So, objectives. So this Eco2Fuel is actually a follow-up of Lotecom, which ended in March 2022. So the project ended at TRL 3 to 4, and Eco2Fuel started at TRL 4, and by the end of the project, we have to reach TRL 7. And for that, we received 20 million euros from the EU Horizon. And the goal for this project is to really develop a zero-emission technology and to build up all the components, or scale up, let's say, all the components with CRM-free. And at the end, really, end goal is to produce e-fuels and address the issue of fossil fuel emission, or at least attempt to develop a new renewable technology to reduce our dependency toward fossil fuel-based sources for energy, for petroleum, and so on and so forth. And throughout the project, we have tackled this objective, and we have developed a 50 kilowatts stack electrolyzer, a robust design for a high performance at industrial environment, as well as all the components that go inside it, for example, MEA, AEM, and the bipolar plates. So to briefly introduce you to the consortium, we're 15 of us to accomplish this impossible task. There are 4 research institutes, so German Aerospace Center, which is the coordinator. So I'm from German Aerospace Center, and we're the coordinator for the project. And CNR is also a very strong academic partner who has provided scientific inputs and currently is also performing all the quality control measurements for all the scaled up components that is assembled inside the 50 kilowatt. The UPV was developed the synthesis method for specifically for the cathode, and also DTU has scaled up, has been involved in the scale up process of the anion exchange membrane. These cathode and anode catalysts are scaled up at monolithos. Then these cathodes and anodes are sent to De Nora for coating. So De Nora is scaling out the membrane electrode assembly. Hydrolite is developing the AEM. They're all 11 industrial partners. So De Nora, monolithos, they're all industrial partners. Also, Vito and Ariama is together designing and machining and producing the 50 kilowatt stack electrolyzer, which will then be placed at the RWE site in Niederhausen. Can you see the pointer now? No. Yeah, there you go. RWE site at Niederhausen, and all the end products that come out of the electrolyzer will be sent to CRF for testing, to test the compatibility for automobile applications. So motivation, why? Do you want to answer why we want to develop such a project? As we all know, we have a very high dependency toward fossil based sources, and we want to reduce that dependency. And this is our try to do that, because this is a low temperature technology, so less energy required, and the byproducts that come out, or the main products that come out, the hydrocarbons, the ethylene, for example, this can be later processed and used for SAF, so aviation fuels or automobile industry. And also, there is a common understanding that we cannot completely eliminate CO2 emission from the industries. There will be a lot of industries that will inevitably produce or emit CO2. And our technology, a CO2 electrolyzer, can be placed in those industries. They can capture the CO2 that comes out of their plant and use our technology to produce something valuable, like ethylene, for example. So that is why we want to develop such a technology. But there are a lot of challenges with this, because our target products is ethylene, for example, but this is a very complex or multiple reaction process, because it takes 12 electrons to get to ethylene, whereas there's another reaction that's going on, which is hydrogen evolution reaction, which only takes 2 electrons. So it is produced at a much lower energy and with much lower potential compared to our target product, which is ethylene. So a lot of times our energy, as in human energy and knowledge, goes towards trying to suppress the hydrogen production and increase the production of ethylene. Besides that, since we are working in alkaline conditions, there are a lot of precipitation. So when there's CO2 and OH, there is salt precipitation, which also affects the longevity of our measurements or the testing of the technology itself. So these are the few issues that we're tackling within the project. So to perform these reactions, we have chosen copper, because copper has a moderate binding energy towards CO, which is the intermediate for CO2 production. So, for example, silver binds strongly, and over time, this strong binding to CO can poison the catalyst surface. And there are other metals who bind too weakly. Yeah. Yeah. So there are other metals who bind too weakly for the dimerization of CO to happen. So this is why our chosen metal is copper to produce ethylene. So this is the gas division electrode or membrane electrode assembly where the copper catalyst goes. So this is the membrane, the porous membrane right here. I don't know if you can also follow my mouse online. I hope you do. So this is the membrane, porous membrane. And on top of that, the copper is fabricated. And the CO2 is passed to the back side of the GDE, which is penetrating through the porous layer and getting absorbed at the catalyst surface, where also KOH is present. So this is a bit more micro scale image, what really happens at the catalyst surface. So the catalyst copper is absorbed on the catalyst surface, and with potent coupled electron transfer process, this is reduced to, for example, ethylene. First of all, CO, which is then dimerized to ethylene. So this is actually a very complex process that we are trying to scale up to TRL7, and it is a challenge, to be honest with you. So within our project, Monolith is in charge of developing the catalyst powder for the copper and the nickel felt. So at first, UPV developed the synthesis method, which was a multiple direct synthesis method, which was tested in the lab and characterized to find the most optimum synthetic method, which is now scaled up, and Monolithos is producing both of the anode and cathode in kilogram scale at the moment. And these catalyst powders are sent to Dinora, so they are fabricating the MEA, the membrane electrode assembly. So far, they have successfully produced a roll-to-roll MEA of 300 square meter, which is necessary for the stack electrolyzer, which is quite big. So each bipolar plate in the stack is 1,500 square centimeters. So this is really important that we reach the roll-to-roll production to supply the components for the stack. Within our project, the target is to reach 2 volts per cell at 300 milliamps per square centimeter with Faraday efficiency of 80% for e-fuels. And we have reached that target. So this is a durability test, which also will be shared in detail. So this is a measurement performed at CNR with all the scaled up roll-to-roll produced components, the MEA, the anion exchange membrane, and they have performed a 1,000-hour durability test at 300 milliamps per square centimeter. And this is stably performing at 2.2 volts throughout, but you can see this fluctuation. This is actually a washing step. As you know, with CO2 in alkaline condition, in presence of KOH, more specifically, there is a lot of carbonaceous products that are formed, and the washing step is done in a durability test like that to remove the salt, then revive the catalyst again, and then continue the performance. And we can say that this catalyst is quite stable even in the scale-up form. And this is the data of the Faraday efficiency. So we have to calculate everything that comes out of the system, what kind of gases and liquids that come out of the electrolyzer. So from this measurement, you can see that we can produce ethylene with 58% Faraday efficiency, which is higher than most reported scaled up electrodes that are out there. And this is actually the stacked electrolyzer placed at Vito currently. I cannot share a lot about the electrolyzer design itself because there's an ongoing patent. But this is a very blowout image of the stack. Each bipolar plate is 1,500 square centimeter. This is actually first of a kind, especially for CO2 electrolyzers. There are a lot of available for PEM or AEM water electrolyzers, but this is the first one in EU, I would say, for CO2 electrolyzers, such a big scale electrolyzer. And we have already performed experiments and tested it out at, I think, probably this is at each cell, this pressure, but I think it's been and pressurized even more, and it's sustained at higher pressure, 14 bar, I think, and also moderate temperature. So this is really comparable to the state-of-the-art PEM water electrolyzers, and the first in Europe for CO2 electrolyzers specifically. These are a few results, electrochemical results from the Stack Electrolyser. So this was 5 cells stacked, and the experiment was performed at approximately 200 milliamps per square centimeter, and each cell has a voltage of 2.8 volts. So this is also very energetically efficient, because a lot of other publications that share scaled up catalyst in a large electrolyzer, the voltage is usually higher than this at the same current density. So our system is also energy efficient in that regard. So this is the last part of the presentation, so recycle process. So we try to make sure that this is a full cycle, the entire system. So every component that goes into our electrolyzer for testing, they are recovered after the testing, and Mondes has developed this hydrometallurgical method to recover all the used catalysts and also the anion exchange membrane. So everything that is used is recovered again. So that also to ensure that there is zero waste within our procedure. And this is the last step of the project, which is yet to be done. So this is the image of the RW site at Niederhausen, where the 50 kilowatt will be placed. So this is already commissioned and ready for testing. And we have backup power generator here somewhere. I think RW would be more efficient to tell you that. But yes, so this is also taking care that this is a full cycle, closed carbon cycle. More specifically, all the gases or the products that are produced from the electrolyzer will be used to power the generator or backup generator, and all the CO2 that comes from the exhaust, the end or outlet of the electrolyzer, will be inserted back into the electrolyzer for further reduction. So then nothing is released into the air. Everything that comes out, that goes back into our system. So to have again another closed carbon cycle. Okay, so with this, I would like to end my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. And you can also find more updates in our website, which is here. And also all the updates are shared in LinkedIn profile as well. So you can also update yourself continuously with our new developments within the project.
Yeah, just we also here about the brain user them. Which kind of membrane maybe I
Anion exchange membrane. So the anion exchange membrane. Yeah. So it's alkaline conditions. Yeah. But yeah, I think you asked about the material that this we cannot share. It's by hydrolyte. So the
yeah. Can you explain something about which materials you use for this to capture?
So the technology.
You can particular to what salts into or the rest flavoring.
So the electrolyzer itself will be taking in the CO2, and then this is converted. In the electrolyzer it will be converted. Yeah. So the system itself is the CO2 capture plant. Yeah.
Following told why foods not thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, so it has to be porous. That is also a good question, because we need to maintain hydrophobicity. Yes, because otherwise we have water, or at least it eventually comes on the side where we don't want a lot of it. So because we want to prevent flooding. So that's why we have to use porous, so that we can feed in dry CO2, for example, or at least slightly humidified CO2. That's why it needs to be porous. Yeah.
I have a question about cell. If you go over here, cross section of the cell. And so you use one molecule with the tray.
Yes,
And so on
the anode side.
the end side, here is still gas separation,
Yes,
and the herrings on come across the membrane.
yes.
Now, this ball formation, and this relates to my question. At what point did you open the cell? You said that in regular electrolysis, you have to flush out of the cell.
Mhm.
Maybe some issue, but what was the criteria? What was the parameter or measured variable that told you, oh, now it's time to actually wash the cell or exchange the electrolyte or do something, right? In your time series,
Yeah.
I also that you regularly.
This one. Yeah.
Now it's time.
So this will be more discussed in the later presentation, but I can briefly answer. So when there is a decline over time in potential. So this was developed after multiple different measurements, or let's say failed measurements more specifically. So to figure out exactly at what point we should start the washing step. So in previous measurements, we observe when the potential is declining. So then we try the washing step. Then it worked. It worked as in the potential went back to where it's supposed to be at that specific current density. Yeah. Yeah, the DI water. So basically the inlet where the CO2 is going, remove it at the tube for the water, wash, recirculate the water, clean it, and then so, yeah, again. A CO2 flow. So it's even in lab scale, it's a single zero gap. So yeah. Yes. So
Any question online? Probably. Can you just read it?
yeah. Let me check. Before
People online, if they want to ask questions, okay, you can read and answer.
Okay, first, whether we have to penetrate the flue gas before CO2 capture? If yes, how? Penetrate the flue gas.
Yeah, please answer.
Yeah, okay. So the CO2, the GD is developed in such a way that you directly connect the outlet of the flue gas or CO2 and start the reduction process, or specifically electrochemical reduction process. Very nice work. Is it possible to get membrane commercially yet? This you would have to ask Dinora, but I think not yet. A membrane. Oh, sorry, not the AM anion exchange membrane. So this is hydrolyte. We'd have to ask hydrolyte about it. According to slide 7, what is the reason behind operating 45 degrees? So the reason. So the reason for 45 degrees, we targeted a low temperature electrolyzer. So this is a common understanding that we go for 50 degrees minimum for low temperature systems. What is the CO2 capture efficiency? The overall efficiency. So overall Faraday efficiency is 100%, including all the products, the liquid products, the gaseous products. The overall efficiency is 100%. Yes, including hydrogen. Series, and what is the and is it operating in single pass configuration or CO2 conversion? Single pass configuration, yes.
Can you repeat the question? Yes.
Okay, so Craig Armstrong asked, very impressive work and inspiring work. Thank you. Are the cells in your stack working in parallel or in series? And is it operating in a single pass configuration? CO2 conversion percentage. So it is single pass and series stacks. CO2 conversion. So in a smaller scale, CO2 conversion is about 60 to 65%. It's not sticky, it's just salts, precipitation. Precipitation, yeah. Sticky means precipitation. Okay.
I think Faria.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So now I think we'll end, sorry, but we'll end the questions here because it's almost time and we need to invite the next presenter. So the next presenter is from CNR, Dr. Antonino Arico.